Well, Bungie was back this week with their This Week at Bungie update, and this week they were talking about zone control coming back to the Crucible. Plus this week, a company that provides cheating software got some very bad news and a $13.5 million bill to pay. Well, today I'm going to round up all the latest news from Destiny 2 and Bungie, so let's get to it. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Roughly 98% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, first of all, we've got zone control coming back to Crucible next week, so let's jump into that first, and then we'll get to that news about the cheaters. So, first of all, Bungie say, Control is a staple mode in the Crucible. It's a hybrid of traditional deathmatch mode of racking up points by defeating enemies, and objective mode where you get points for controlling capture points. But what if it was all indeed about the zones? As we teased out in a previous TWAB, zone control will become available in Crucible Labs starting next week. And then it's going to stick around for the rest of Season of the Haunted except for during Iron Banner. And some of you may remember zone control back in the OG Destiny timeframe. Well, this mode is more of a traditional objective mode where the only way to score points is to control those zones. So it is a simple premise. Here's a few things you should know to help your fire teams be more successful and strategic. So stacking players on the zones is going to capture them far quicker than trying to go at it solo. It can be a little easier to slip one player behind enemy lines to take a zone, but they are going to have to pull some heroics for longer periods of time. Controlling an area and being able to safely gather 3 or more Guardians the most efficient way to cap a zone. Just watch out for a well-placed Nova Bomb. So we've got the capture times here, so 1 Guardian is 22.5 seconds. That is a very long time. 2 Guardians, 10 seconds, and 3 plus Guardians, 7.5 seconds. So basically, it caps out at 3 Guardians, so you're not going to get any more benefit having 4, 5, or 6 Guardians in a zone. So you might want to get 2 teams of 3, split up, and take separate capture points. Well, the initial capture is going to give you 1 point, then you're going to get 2 points for every 15 seconds you hold onto a zone after that. So keeping a zone has more value than initially capturing it. The first team to 125 points wins, and if a team falls too far behind, and we detect that even if they held 2 zones for the rest of the match, they wouldn't get enough points to catch up, a mercy rule will come into effect. Well, those are the basics, and we're going to be monitoring the conversation and looking forward to all the feedback that you provide on how the mode plays in Destiny 2. Speaking of controlling zones, Trials of Osiris is going to feature the zone capture variant this weekend, and you probably are all playing that right now, so good luck with that, and I hope you're getting all that loot. And talking about the loot, it will be Trials rank bonus weekend, so jump in and make Saint 14 proud. Well, next up, we got some really good news, although it is bad news if you are a company providing cheater software, or even one of the cheaters themselves. So this one comes from Ted Litchfield out of PC Gamer, and essentially talks about cheaters having to pay up. There was a 13.5 million settlement, and that put the cost of one Destiny 2 cheater at $2,000 each. So Elite Boss Tech, they made Destiny cheats, and as reported by Torrent Freak, Destiny 2 developer Bungie has scored a major win in its campaign against cheat developers, with the unfortunately named Canadian company Elite Boss Tech and the 110-20781 Canada agreeing to $13.5 million settlement and a permanent injunction on their Destiny 2 cheat programs. Cheat makers always seem to find a way to bypass new anti-cheat software, but in recent years Bungie has spearheaded an effort to bring them to court, taking a software arms race into a realm where the big company and its lawyers have a clear advantage. So alongside Ubisoft and Riot, Bungie has successfully forced several cheat manufacturers, such as Ring 1 and Perfect Aim, to close their doors with the threat of financially devastating legal proceedings and decisions. Well, last month, Aim Junkies scored a rare legal victory for the cheaters, with a Seattle judge rejecting the copyright infringement portion of Bungie's case against it. Much of these proceedings rest on the legal logic that the developer's copyright is somehow undermined or infringed by the development and sale of cheat tools, and Aim Junkies was able to semi-successfully argue that its cheat tools were entirely of its own creation, using no code or assets created by Bungie, and thus did not infringe on the company's copyright. No such luck for Elite Boss Tech and the 110-20781 Canada. So the company seemed prepared to argue a similar case to Aim Junkies, but were unable to get a favourable pre-trial ruling, and the companies agreed to a settlement with Bungie, recognising their product as something that builds on and alters Bungie's work, infringing on the dev's copyright. The agreement quantifies the financial damage of an individual Destiny 2 cheater as $2,000. I remain haunted by some ludicrous snipers from my time in Destiny's more competitive survival queue. That still feels like a hefty damage estimate. Nevertheless, Elite Boss and 11020781 Canada agreed to that assessment, and the company's software was purchased 6,765 times, bringing the total owed to Bungie at $13.5 million. And it's an eye-watering sum in terms of normal people money. If I had $13.5 million, I'd probably grabbed a few more $2 RPGs from 1998 in the GOG Summer Sale. But the real value for Bungie and other developers is the example being set. It's just not worth it trying to sell cheats for an online FPS if a company can rain legal hell on you. This strategy of setting a legal example against a third-party developer is similar to the playbook of the notoriously litigious publisher Nintendo, although the cheat makers are much less sympathetic figure than fan game devs. Recently, mod chip seller Gary Bowser was sentenced to 3 years in prison for being part of a team that sold tools pirating Nintendo games, and the details of his imprisonment are stomach-churning. I don't like to see anyone bludgeoned by the full weight of the American legal system in general, never mind over video games. That's the grimmer undercurrent I see of this otherwise welcome culling of cheat manufacturers. Potential future consequences for people who are more sympathetic than incorporating cheat-making businesses. As with Bungie's copyright strike fiasco, I'm reminded of the absolute power copyright holders and platform owners have over the communities of fan creators who make their livings in parallel to games and rely on those companies' good graces to continue. Well, next up, we've got news about player support. So first of all, we got 4.1.0.3 resolved issues. Earlier this week, a new hotfix 4.1.0.3 was released to the world, and below are some of the issues that were resolved with this hotfix. So the Hrafnangud ornament for Celestial Nighthawk was unavailable to equip. Some players were missing Void and Arc subclass unlocks, and players could not use armor synthesis. Next up, we got airborne effectiveness issue. So we're currently investigating an issue with some exotic armor pieces are not granting the advertised airborne effectiveness stat correctly when equipped. And the effective exotic armor pieces are as follows. So Sealed Amkara Grasps, Lion Rampant, Peacekeeper, Peregrine Greaves, and Wings of Sacred Dawn. Next up, we got the GCX emblem distribution. So players who've donated towards the GCX celebration should expect all donation emblems to be distributed as of the week of June the 27th, 2022. So also, we have some known issues. Please note that the flawless Thought Stealer Triumph requires players to complete all encounters in the Duality Dungeon without any members of the fire team dying. The Tears of Contrition Scout Rifle displays the incorrect magazine options when shaping the weapon at the relic, and upon shaping it is displayed incorrectly. The Without Remorse Shotgun does not appear in collections, and the Conflux Legend Lost Sector requires the Rift Legend Lost Sector to be unlocked. The Leviathan Destination Weekly Challenge does not progress for some players, and certain weapon damage buffs are not functioning correctly in PvP, including the Will Given Form buff from the Agar Scepter Catalyst. So that is a list of the known issues. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think of the latest news from Destiny 2 and also Bungie. And that is it for this latest update from Destiny 2. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you could check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.